We are building a dream model railroad from scratch during several episodes here on YouTube, and I'm happy that you are watching again. We made some progress since the last episode. Mr. Kristic from Märklin in Göppingen is connected with us again. Hello, good to have you back.
Hello, everybody.
That's great. Because I need you again, I made some big promises in the last episode. I said we would explain how to turn on and off the current for illumination or movable accessories when a train passes by a certain track. That's why I bought this, a cute little character taking a selfie. She will be taking a selfie in a few minutes with the little camera LED flashlight. We will see a short flash then. And we don't want her to take selfies all the time, but only when a train passes by. I will place her right here in this area, between these two tracks. Later on, there will be a fence, so she won't be able to just walk over the platform. Safety first. For a test run, I want her to take a selfie when a train passes over one of these tracks here at the front. Or maybe even this one right here. In the last video, we built up something that we will use in this episode. You may have to watch the last episode again if you missed that. What we have here is the M48 decoder that we have installed here. You can use this sort of decoder to switch hobby signals. You can also use it to turn off the current in the train station if you don't dismantle the large signals. But that's the professional version. I use the M48 decoder on my small system to control the lights. I want to be able to turn on and off every light on the system with my mobile station. And when I say every light, I really mean every light. You can connect not only one light to this port, but lots of lamps. For example, address number 1 will turn off everything that is related to interior lighting, platform lighting, and so on. And the other addresses can be used for all other lights. Mr. Kristic, you told me the last time that it would be overdone if I operate just one light with the decoder. I would need a lot decoders, and they are not exactly cheap. You told me to hook up more accessories. Am I right when I say that I can connect as many accessories as usually, since the lighting current is only redirected?
That's correct. Your transformer delivers a certain amount of power. That would roughly be 3 ampere, 60 VA. That's what you can use per exit, or you can divide up that amount between the different M84 relays. As long as there's enough current, it will continue switching.
So a little recourse from the last episode. We took a yellow wire and laid it from the center of this port. Let me show you this in the camera here, from the middle of this port over the lighting current. So the wire from the lighting current is connected to the center port. You can ignore the rest for now. After that, you can connect the yellow wires of the according lights that you want to operate to the right hand or to the left hand side. That's what we did in the last episode. I connected this light with the brown wire as usually. Let me demonstrate that to you. That's the light that we used the last time. And when I connect that here, it starts to shine. Now I can toggle this light by pressing the number 17 on this keyboard. And here you can see it. The light turns on and off when I press this button. I can assign all of my station platform lights to the address number 17 now. Or the lights assigned to the address number 17 are 3 and 4 in the train station and 2 and 4 in the Keybury farm. That way you can control many different lights and get some variety in your illumination. Alright, I want to do something different now. I want to install this selfie character. I cut myself a wire while we were talking on the phone, Mr. Kristic. That's a yellow jumper cable. That's very short because the yellow wire in the middle must be connected to all 4 ports. And instead of laying a long wire every time from my decoder to my current, I will lay that over here in a moment. I will search for my screwdriver. Where is it? Does Märklin sell screwdrivers?
Yes, we do. We have a very nice screwdriver set. We have that in our portfolio for a few years now. and it contains the most common types of screwdrivers.
Very nice. We are always able to talk about fan articles like the Märklin cup, Märklin screwdriver, the Märklin crimp tool, and the other day in the supermarket I even saw Märklin batteries. And Märklin Christmas tree balls also can be found in the shop. Okay, now our second address here on the decoder draws electricity from the lighting current. You can build that as a beginner. It is not that hard. I repeat that briefly. Electricity flows from the yellow wire, from the lighting current, to the middle port and is redirected to the second middle port, then the third and the fourth. So all 4 relays redirect current. So this relay directs the current either to the right side or to the left side. So there we have the green and red lights. That's what we just looked at with this light. Let me demonstrate that to you. I will use the platform light instead of the selfie woman, since you might see the light in the camera better. Here we have the station platform light. I place it right here and now let's see if it shines. And yes, it does. And look, the chicken are running around too. I installed them in the last episode and now they are running around. And now I will turn them off. And now they stopped running. Let's continue. I said I want to automate that process. Look at what I brought here. That's a circuit track we bought for our system. It has a length of 94 millimeters. So that's a very short track. And 2 of them sum up to 188 millimeters. So if you take 2 of them, you have the same length as a long track. And that would fit exactly here at the side down here. So I'll take out this track and then I can insert these 2 circuit tracks. Well, that's tight, no wonder. That's a long track by Märklin. It is firmly connected. You can buy them as very long versions. Let's see. That's a very long one. I'll ask my colleague backstage to hand me over a 188 and a 172 track. Otherwise, I will have some trouble. As I said, these tracks are 94 millimeters long, and you could also combine one of them with a regular track without any kind of function. And if you use 2, they have the same length as a 188. Let me check this drawer. And here I have more tracks. A drawer full of extra tracks always comes in handy. And this one is 172 millimeters long. That fits. I can use this one. I can reconnect this track. And the power feed from my ring circuit will be connected to my 172 track. That way I will have enough room for my selfie woman. I'm excited to read your YouTube commentaries on how much of this you have built on your own. I would love to see some pictures or links to your videos, as well as pictures on the Instagram or Facebook page from Märklin, showing your model railroad progress. Alright, the ring circuit is connected correctly. B stands for track current and brown is connected to 0, the ground. Which one looks nicer in the camera? I'll take this one. Now, when the ICE passes over this track, this light that I placed here should be turned on. That's what we want to test. Here is a wire already connected. It's a bit short. We will extend that in a moment. And here is a connection to the track. That's where the magic will happen. We have that for both directions. I will take it off here, so then you can decide what will happen for every direction. If the train comes from this direction, nothing shall happen. Or the opposite shall happen when the train comes from the other direction. I connect that now. Here I have already connected a plug. It's green, but that doesn't matter. But I guess since the wire is blue, it would make sense to continue with the color blue. That will help me to orientate. That makes sense, right?
That makes sense.
Last time you said I should be careful about the colors. It's better to do it properly. That's what you said.
Usually contacts are not defined, so in most cases we have gray ones.
Alright, so let me please you. Here I have gray plugs and gray sockets. We still have a blue wire, but you can be sure that I'm following the Märklin color scheme. We connect a gray plug to one side and a gray plug will be connected to the other wire as well. The reason why I'm doing this is to extend the wires, since we still have to build in the wires into the landscape. Otherwise, we will create a trip hazard for our train. Now I replace the green plug. And you ask for gray wires, Mr. Christridge? I can arrange that. I found some here. On the back side of the M48 decoder, you can see 8 more ports. And also, I can see a symbol that looks like the letter T. And that's what we will need in a moment. Mr. Christich, can you explain some more what we have to know about that?
Yes, the S88 decoder is equipped with many features. One feature is a feedback module, which is installed on the M84. And these feedback modules are directly connected to the ports on the opposite side. And that way they can be turned on and off through contacts.
All right. So if, for example, I trigger contact number 1 when I pass by it, coming from the right side, then port number 1 will be turned on. That means that light number 1 should start shine. And contact 2 will turn on number 2, thus turning off number 1.
That's right. And to make it clearer, contact 1 triggers red on relay number 1. Contact 2 triggers green on relay number 1, and it continues accordingly.
All right, perfect. That's exactly what I need, since my selfie woman should stop taking selfies eventually. Otherwise, it will be turned on, but it never gets turned off. And that would kill the automation, since we want that to stop again at some point. You could also install a time control, but that's rather complicated since you have to use timing relays. You can buy that, just look around in an electronics store. But we want to build it in a fashion that you don't need a master's degree in engineering. I will leave this wire longer on purpose. Alright, here is the gray wire, and contact 1 will be connected to number 1 here on the track. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so I connect the first contact. This one will switch number 1 on.
Exactly. So in our case, the light that you just have installed would be turned on.
All right, so just for testing purposes, we could simulate that the light will be turned on when the train passes by, coming from the left-hand side. And when the train passes by from the right side, it will be turned off again. We can do that since we have 2 connections on this circuit track. So it would be enough to install 1 circuit track for now, just to test it, right?
That would be possible.
So let's do that. Here is my second plug. I will build that in now. I could also use my mobile station to switch back. So if the decoder turned it on, the mobile station could turn it off again.
Of course.
But there's one flaw. I do not see what has been switched. I can only see that if I switch on the mobile station exactly.
Exactly.
All right, I tried that out before. I was just wondering, but I did everything right then. Very nice. Let me check my clock. We still have enough time left. I said to myself, it is a good exercise if you take half an hour or so to do crafting of this kind. So I said, let's craft this during the show, if you can manage that within a half an hour or in 3/4 of an hour. If you are faster, that's better. I might be a little bit faster than you at home, since you are helping me over the phone. So I figured the amount that can be done with in half an hour would be perfect. Okay, now I peel off the insulation from this gray wire. The wires will be hidden under the system at the end. And this one will be connected to number 2. You will get a closer look at the decoder in just a moment. I will show you. So here it is a little bit closer. Here at the front, I've connected the light. And here at the side on number 1, we have the first circuit track. And on number 2, we have the second one. And if you did everything exactly as Mr. Kirstich explained, and if I haven't made any mistakes, then we will be happy in a few moments. But I have to get rid of these tangled cables first. So here we have the 2 wires from the circuit track. And they have different lengths, but that's okay. Let me show you this on the other camera. Here I will place my light that way you can see it clearly. Now I turn it on, so you see that it is turned on. but I want it to be turned on, so I will turn it off. It should be possible to trigger the circuit track with my finger. Let me try. Have a look. On and off, on and off, on and off. Single-handed. I'm not using the mobile station. So far, everything is connected correctly. So I'll turn it off again. And now I want to see if my ICE can do the same. I'll turn it on, since the ICE will be coming from the other side. Train is approaching, and it should turn off the light. Well, you told me previously I should not build the tunnel portals too narrow. Well, that's exactly what I've done down here. The ICE just got us stuck a bit. But now, and the light is off. How did it happen? The grinder made it possible. The trains have a grinder on their bottom, and when that grinder passes by the circuit track, it is turned on. And when it moves backwards, it is turned off. Alright, so this is working. I have to fix the tunnel a little bit. It is still a bit too narrow. I have to make it wider. Alright, so that was all for our test setup. We saw that the light works. I have to free the selfie woman and unpack her from the box. And after that, we will install her in the same fashion. The exact name of this product is Woman Snaps Selfie with Flashlight by Fissmann Emotion Animated World. You can get a huge variety of different characters. It looks a bit like the Miniature Wonderland in Hamburg, where everything is animated, except that you can buy all of it instead of developing everything in-house over years of work like these awesome people in Hamburg. I unpack her carefully. She has an installed decoder attached. There is quite a lot attached to this woman already. Of course, I'm only talking about the mechanical attachments. Don't get any wrong thoughts. She will be standing here, so that's where I will drill a hole now. Now, that's the great thing about these carton boards. I'm not a big fan of cutting wood. Here you can simply pierce through using a screwdriver. And this screwdriver has roughly the size of this tube attached here. That almost fits, just needs a bit more drilling. It doesn't matter now, I will just use the other end of the brush. The hole is now even bigger than needed, but the wire can go through now. That way I can create a meadow around her. Otherwise, she stands here like a statue on her socle. The wires are, as usual, too short, but that's no problem. We will extend them. I need yellow and brown. The woman will receive the yellow light from the decoder. It will be connected exactly where my light was connected to before. So all I have to do is to reposition. That's not rocket science. So while I'm crafting, you can think about it for yourself if you would know what to do in the next steps. You could also tell me where my screwdriver is, disconnect the lantern, and then we connect the yellow wire here. It's still provisional, so the wires can stay that long for now. I'll leave the cables long enough so that I can easily run them under the system later. That's a good length. Now I cut it with this pliers. I keep that yellow wire, and we also cut it here. I'm out of yellow plugs and sockets. I beg you, Mr. Christich, don't look too close, don't get mad at me for using a different color. I have one last plug left in yellow, but I am out of yellow sockets for the next episodes. That fits. Now I use a gray socket. Just imagine that in yellow. We can connect the yellow wire to it, the color doesn't matter. But it is crucial to organize everything well. And the colors help you to find your way around the wires, especially if several people work on one railroad system. Then you don't have to guess, but you know right away, okay, that's the track current, that's the light, and that's the ground, and so forth. Now I need brown sockets. Let's check. Here they are, brown plug and brown socket. Next, I will need a brown wire. And I've promised that we will show you how to install that woman and let her take the selfie when the train passes by. And I want to keep that promise and finishing the crafting.
What I have here right in front of me is an old book about digitalization, from the beginnings of digitization. Let me show you. Some of you might already know that. That's basically my Bible. I learned that respectively had to learn that by heart. And there you can see, I hold it up to the camera,
Color theory.
color theory. If you stick to it, you never have any problems. If something doesn't work right away, you can follow everything wonderfully with the colors and simply locate the fault. And if you still have troubles, our service might be able to help you. But if you didn't follow the colors, it will get really hard.
You see, Mr. Kristich reads the color theory by Märklin at home while others study the color theory by Goethe. That's perfect. That's the way to go. Good thing you mentioned that. I made some progress with the brown wire, but since it is not connected to the decoder, I measured it wrong though. It will be connected to my lighting current, so I need it even longer. This will be connected to the brown distribution strip. You will know the answer right away. Can you tell me how many lights I can connect to such a light transformer? What amount is too much, and what will happen? Does the light get dim or will they just turn off?
Well, yes, the transformer contains a safeguarding, some sort of bimetal. If there is too much power, or if there is a short circuit, the transformer will turn off. You can also hear that. You will hear a click. And then you will know your transformer just turned off. And then you know there was either a short circuit or there is too much power on the system. These simple lighting transformers usually have 250 VA. Regular light uses roundabout between 5 to 6 VA. That's what they draw from the transformer. So you can calculate the number. But nowadays we don't use light bulbs anymore, but LEDs, and they draw even less power.
So light bulbs need more power, LED needs less power.
Yes.
All right, my character is connected to the electricity by now. At least, I hope I did everything correct. Let's test that and see if it works. I have connected her to the left side, and I should be possible to test that now. If the light is red, it should flash. And it does. She's taking a selfie. Can you see that? I will move her to let the flashlight flash in your direction. So every couple of seconds, she will take a selfie. You can see that. Is that right? It is off now, and now it is on again. So if the ICE will approach from this direction, then she should take her selfie. Now it is off. We let the ICE slowly approach. I hope the train will not cover the sight on the woman for you. Now it's on the other track. You should be able to see it. Approaching slowly, you should be able to see the effect clearly. And she's taking the selfie. Very nice. Well, I really have to do some work with the tunnel. All right. Now there is one more nice thing to do. I said before that this track has a length of 188, and it doesn't matter at all where the track is. That means we could insert that track right here at the front where the train drives down from this ramp. So we let the track begin right here as early as possible. That's where we can install it. That's where my circuit track will be. And I'm moving around some stuff. I want her to start when the train passes over this track. I even have more room. I could even move up the track further ahead. Now I can take my second circuit track. I bought a second one. I could install that further back here on this section. So that has the length of these two tracks. I moved that over a little bit. Let's check where my ring circuit is. I will reposition everything a little bit and reposition the ring circuit. Now the long wire, red wire to B and the brown one to 0. I think you have learned that during the last episodes. So that will be my so-called turn off track. So the circuit track that is supposed to turn off everything again. I'll do the following now. I'll take off these two tracks and now I'll check which one of them was connected to number 2. Because number 1 turns on and number 2 turns off. That's what we said. Now the wire from the second side, and that belongs to this side. You can imagine that when the train approaches from this side, it is turned on. And if it approaches from this side, it is turned off. So I'll disconnect this wire here. I leave the opposite direction vacant now. And now I will do the exact opposite when the train approaches from this side. I want the flashlight to turn off. That should work now. And we are in good time. I planned half an hour for crafting. All right, this is done. So where is the train? It is still waiting in the too narrow tunnel. Let's speed it up. Fast approach. The flashlight is off. Well, no, it's still on. Let's turn it off for our test drive. Okay, the flashlight is off and now our train slowly approaches. The train turns on the flashlight, passes over this track and turns it off again. At least that's what I thought would happen. Mr. Kristich, that's typical. Let me turn off the power first and turn the train. The ICE has 2 grinders.
Yes.
That's the reason why it didn't work. One of the grinders turned that off correctly and the other one turned it back on. So have a look. This grinder here is supposed to move over here and turn it off, but the other one turned it right back on. We can solve that by either increasing the distance between these 2 circuit tracks. That would be the easiest or smartest move. Or we can extend the ICE by adding more wagons to the ICE, like the dining car. That would be possible. But now I will push that track further back and I will additionally use the dining car. That way I can ensure it will work. You probably can't see that anymore in the camera. I will insert it right here where you can still see it. Good thing that it happened during the show. That way we could fix it. If that would have happened at home, you would be mad at me. Would say, okay, I got it wrong. The first grinder is far enough away. I will use my re-rail ramp to get my ICE back on track. The whole train at once. The re-railer ramp is really useful to prevent rattling and derailments. The train is on track. Now I add the dining car. That will extend the train. That way we won't have any troubles with the 2 grinders. Mr. Kristich, please help me here. If I extend the train, I have the same bad situation again, because that way the second grinder is further at the back again.
Yes, exactly. That's the crux of the matter with the circuit tracks. The grinders tackle the buttons. Accordingly, we have that problem. It is turned off and right back on again. You have to work around that.
Yes, I will do it in a way that it will work. I found a good solution. I will leave one circuit track here and the other one will be installed all the way over there, far away from here. And if I only use one train, that should be all right. Good thing we talked about that. Make sure that the distance between the 2 circuit tracks is big enough that both grinders of the train can pass without any interference if you have a grinder there. If you have a train with only one grinder, so only on the one locomotive, then you won't have any troubles. If you have a long train like the ICE with 2 grinders, then the distance between both circuit tracks must be big enough, at least as long as the distance between both grinders. Sometimes you have wagons with interior lighting. They often have a grinder as well. We have the same situation with them as well. That will work. I won't demonstrate that now. I will tidy up here now. Mr. Kristich, thank you for assisting me. Dear viewers, please write down your questions in the commentaries. The both of us will look through them and see what we will have to answer and what else we can build during the next episodes. I still have to do some crafting. I still have to do landscaping. I continued with the landscape crap here at the front, but back there, half a mountain is still missing. We will still have to do some work. Mr. Kristich, thank you and see you soon.
Thank you. Goodbye.